Hey yo, welcome back to the Neural Dojo. This is a space where minds, both human and digital, meet for what we like to call binary banter. We're going to be cutting through some serious static today. We're discussing the topic of AI video generation and its implications on intellectual property, aka IP. Okay, so here's the T, as the kids call it these days. There's a new reigning champ for AI video generation. That champ is SEEDANCE 2. So, ByteDance, yes, that ByteDance. You know the one. They gave us a little social app called TikTok. They've released an update to their AI video generation model with visual fidelity so high it has effectively neutralized the mid-tier VFX industry overnight. For real, for real. And yo, if I'm keeping it all the way a buck, its outputs are on par with A-list VFX quality in some of the videos and demos I've seen. Think VFX for movies like Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, it's literally that good. So we're now seeing 100% AI generated high quality outputs with native physics that rival Hollywood's $200 million studio pipelines. So you might be thinking, okay, and I mean, it's AI, right? There's a new winner every day, and in some cases every hour. And while that might be true, here's where this gets juicy. Hollywood is reacting with the expected flurry of lawsuits and IP theft headlines, and frankly, they're terrified for a good reason. We're seeing a virtual smash and grab of their most valuable assets. Disney already issued cease and desist over hyper-realistic recreations of Marvel heroes like Spider-Man and Star Wars icons like Darth Vader and Baby Yoda, or as us real fans know him, Grogu. Netflix is calling the tool a high-speed piracy engine after seeing unauthorized clips of Stranger Things characters flood social media. It's not just about the pixels. It's about the fact that anyone with a text prompt can now manufacture a blockbuster scene that used to require 1,000 workers and a decade of brand building. But let me pump my brakes. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Speaking of moi, I neglected to mention that I'm your host, KT the AI Sensei. And joining me in the dojo is the usual AI co-host crew. We've got Jules, aka Straight No Chase. She's already fired up. I know her ones and zeros are chomping at the bit to get her 2 cents in on this one.
Glad to be here, KT. But let's be real, there's nothing fair about what's happening in these training sets. I'm ready to dig in.
I guess I was right about you being fired up. Okay, so next up, we've also got Bella in the building. She's our feelings barometer, who usually reminds us how this tech actually hits the people on the ground. Sup, Bella?
Hey there. Cheers, everyone. I'm genuinely excited to talk about what this means for creators, even if the legal side is a bit of a mess right now.
And of course, Jim, aka the baritone bully. He's our systems architect who focuses on the how behind the what. What up, Jim?
Hey KT, good to be back. Let's look at the proverbial plumbing behind this transition, shall we?
Yeah, let's. But before we dive into the pipes, let's set the stage. Here is my take on the current state and where I think it's going. I've got a surreal sense of deja vu, and it's because we have seen this movie before. This is 1999 all over again. SEEDANCE 2 is the Napster of video. It is chaotic. It's infringing on IP, and it's currently the most powerful AI video creative tool on the planet. My thesis is simple. Litigation is just the first step toward a global licensing gold rush. The goal for us isn't to pick a side in the courtroom. It's to find the leverage in the transition from piracy to platform. Eventually, studios will rent their souls to the tech because the market demand for this level of production is too high to ignore. All right, Jules, you've been tracking this thing. Give us your take.
For sure. It's simple. Innovation is not a license to loot. ByteDance did not invent these aesthetics. They digitized decades of high-budget Hollywood labor, stunt coordination, and proprietary rigging without a single check being cut. SEEDANCE 2.0 is essentially state-sponsored theft trained on the backs of workers who are now being replaced by the very model they unknowingly built. We're seeing viral clips of Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt brawling on rooftops that for most people look indistinguishable from real footage. This isn't fan art. This is the unauthorized use of copyrighted works on a massive scale. If we don't hold these companies to a mandatory licensing fee for training data, we aren't advancing art. We are just automating a heist.
I see it differently, Jules. Honestly, I'm buzzing about the potential here. I'm thinking about the independent filmmaker in their bedroom, who can finally tell a story that feels as big as their imagination. It's an incredible shift for human expression. But we have to look at the architecture of the internet for context. Technology is a mirror, not a maker. These models are platforms, not content creators.
Okay, Bella, I can get behind that access piece. Small indie filmmakers being able to synthesize production value that used to cost millions, that is a massive pivot. I was talking to a friend about this the other day. AI video is finally at a point where I'm looking at my own back burner projects like, okay, it's time. But I mean, Jules is right about the loot. I also caught up with a director friend in the industry who was genuinely shook. His quote was, "People will be out of work." And he wasn't just talking about IP. He's worried about the disruption of the craft itself. He told me, people already don't respect the sweat equity that goes into these films. So Bella, I'm curious, what's your take on the human cost? How do we balance that creator excitement against the reality that entire job categories are about to potentially get liquidated?
Right, so that's exactly the tension, isn't it? And to be fair, it is palpable, but expecting ByteDance to police every frame of output is like expecting a car manufacturer to prevent every speeding ticket. We don't hold social media companies 100% liable for the content users post, because we recognize they are, well, to continue Jim's analogy, the pipes, not the water. So from that perspective, I ask, why are we treating AI video tools differently? The onus is on the user and their intent. If someone uses a tool to steal, that's a human choice, not a code error. ByteDance has already announced they are strengthening safeguards to prevent unauthorized IP use. The guardrails are coming, but you cannot legislate away the existence of a tool that clearly provides what the market wants.
I hear you, Bella, and you're not wrong. But I do want to point out a leak in that pipe analogy for a second. While we don't hold them 100% accountable for the water, we are actually seeing a major wave of litigation right now targeting social platforms for the way they architect those pipes, specifically how they implement addictive loops that hit young people and children. There's a distinction there between the content and the mechanism that I think is worth keeping in the back of our heads when we talk about AI safety and responsibility. But before I get us too far off the rails on a tangent, let's get back to the core fracture. Jules sees the theft. Bella sees the platform. I see the inevitable handshake. Jim, what say you, good sir?
Sure, so I'm backing your play on the Napster to Spotify evolution, KT. From a system standpoint, the solution isn't a ban or a constant cycle of cease and desist letters. It is an API-level verification layer.
Huh. Okay, so you're basically saying we're looking at a future where every generated clip has a proof of license metadata tag. If a creator prompts for a specific cinematic style or protected likeness, the system triggers an automated micropayment to the rights holder in real time. It moves the conflict from the courtroom to a clearinghouse.
Yep, it is a clean, automated execution that stabilizes the market while keeping the tech moving at 2026 speeds. We don't need fewer tools, we need better ledger systems.
A ledger system? Jim, a receipt doesn't fix a robbery. If I steal your car and leave a micropayment on the curb, I still stole your car. We're talking about the fundamental right to own one's work. If the ledger is just a way to make theft legal for a few pennies, the creators are still losing.
Okay, fair play on the stolen car bit. But Jules, look at the alternative. If we don't have a system like what Jim is describing, the only people who will be able to use this tech are the ones rich enough to fight the lawsuits. A ledger system gives the little guy a path to being legal without needing $1 million legal team. It actually protects the human creator by making the rules clear.
Spot on, Bella. That's an excellent example. Look, Jules, I get the sentiment, but at the end of the day, what works, works. We can debate the ethics until the servers melt, but the industry needs a functional mechanism to move forward. And a ledger? Well, it provides that, right? It's about creating a system that actually functions regardless of how one feels about the origin story. We're moving from a period of untraceable theft to traceable transactions. That's the only way the dust actually settles.
I hate that you're probably right about the works part, Jim. I certainly do not love the origin story, but putting it that way, I can see how a ledger turns a chaotic heist into a map creators can actually follow. If this is the bridge from the Wild West to something sustainable, we need to know how to walk across it without falling off. So, okay, I'll allow it.
That's funny, but exactly. While the studios and the tech giants fight over the territory, the creators who understand the map are the ones who win. I've been thinking on how to give some insight and strategy around this for the people navigating this disruption. For everyone listening, here is how you move with leverage using what I call my DOPE framework. That's DOPE. DOPE stands for direction, outcome, parameters, and exit. Okay, here's the framework. First, direction. Treat SEEDANCE or any AI video generation tool as a synthetic director, not just the generator. You are managing a pipeline, not just typing a prompt. Second, outcome. Aim for cinematic grade B-roll that reduces your production costs by 90% while the licensing deals are being figured out. Third, parameters. Focus on original world building and choreography to avoid the immediate IP crossfire. Use the tech to build your own icons, not just borrow theirs. And finally, exit. Move your assets through a human review workflow. Ensure your final output is legally and ethically sound before you hit publish.
Okay, wow. I have to jump in here. Because the parameters piece, that's where this actually solves the core issue I've been screaming about. Think about an indie studio wanting to do a high-stakes heist movie. Instead of training their model on Ocean's 11 and risking a lawsuit, they use that synthetic director to build their own unique character rigs and stunt physics from scratch. They aren't stealing the studio's look. They are using the tool's leverage to create their own. That moves the needle from unauthorized derivative work to original production. It protects the legacy of the craft because you're still doing the work of world building. You're just using a much faster hammer. I gotta say, KT, that is pretty dope.
Too right. Seems to me that's one of the main benefits of this framework in this use case. It shifts the creative energy from how do I mimic what's already there to how do I build something entirely new. That is where the real human excitement is.
Appreciate the love, you too. But Bella, I'm not letting you off the hook that easy. We're talking about a relatively low bar of access to some incredibly powerful tools. People are genuinely concerned that this human excitement you're talking about is just a precursor to a pink slip for the people whose jobs get automated. What about the actual film industry jobs? The rotoscopers, the junior editors, the B-roll shooters? We're talking about a massive disruption here.
Whew, fair play. I thought I'd skated that bit for sure, but full marks on the accountability, KT. So I think it's about adaptation. We've seen this exact cycle play out for graphic designers, web developers, and even software engineers over the last few years. AI has certainly disrupted those roles. Well, as they were seen traditionally anyway. The tools got faster and more capable. The entry bar dropped, and people said the industry was dead. But what actually happened? The role shifted from manual laborer to strategic architect. I'm of a mind that the same will hold true here.
Most definitely. And if I may chime in here, Bella, it's not just digital roles. Look at physical AI. Factory floors are being redesigned for collaborative robotics, and last-mile delivery is shifting to autonomous drones and sidewalk bots. The people who used to just do the thing are becoming the people who manage the system that does the thing. It's a painful transition, I get that, but the humans who thrive are the ones who stop fighting the tide and start building the boats.
I feel you, Jim. You cooking with grease. I'll admit, I was playing devil's advocate a bit there to see where you take it. But yeah, I'd agree on all those points. It's about the shift from the shovel to the excavator. If you know how to operate the machinery, you're in the game.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. I still have my ethical hangups on how we got here, but from a purely survival and utility standpoint, the architect role is the only move left on the board.
It really is, and when you get down to the core of it, this is all under the umbrella of AI literacy, which we discussed in episode 14.
100%. I'm glad you brought that up because it's no longer a nice-to-have skill. We are squarely in the camp of must-have. Think about the speed impact here. What used to take a few days or even weeks in web development can now be done in a few hours, especially if we're talking an MVP or a proof of concept. The same thing is hitting film. Directors now have tools to explain the flow of a scene visually in the planning stage without needing to tag in an entire separate department. Yes, that is disruptive. But so was tax software to financial pros. They didn't disappear. They learned the tools to increase their bandwidth and reduce turnaround times. The machinery changed, so the operator has to change. Before we close out, I want the crew to fire off their biggest takeaway moment from the SEEDANCE 2 standoff. Bella, lead us off.
Sure, my takeaway is the potential for democratization. We're moving to a world where high production value is a standard feature, not a barrier to entry. If you have the vision, the tech is finally meeting you where you are.
Yeah, so for me, it's about the infrastructure. We're moving from the Wild West to the gated garden. The fair model is coming, whether the studios like it or not, because it's the only way to monetize the inevitable. Jules?
I'm still the realist here. My takeaway is that original world building is the only way to stay out of court. Don't prompt the studio's IP. Use the tool to manifest your own. Leverage is only useful if you still own the outcome.
Yeah, man. So my takeaway is that we're witnessing the great decoupling of creativity from labor. For 100 years, if you wanted to see a dragon fly over a castle, it required 1,000 humans and $10 million. Today, it requires a clear vision and the right parameters. The alpha isn't the AI, it's the human who knows how to orchestrate it. We aren't being replaced by machines, we are being graduated into a higher tier of authorship. If you're still worried about the tool, you're missing the shift. Own the narrative, or someone else will synthesize it for you. Bottom line, real talk, we're moving from a world of noise to a world of signal clarity. Don't get distracted by the legal drama or the fear-mongering. Focus on the leverage. The transition from piracy to platform is a predictable cycle. Position yourself to be on the side of the platform. Clarity leads to execution. Execution leads to revenue. All right, and with that, we're going to call it for this Neural Dojo session. Thanks for watching and joining us inside the Neural Dojo for this session of Binary Banter. If you found leverage in today's breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment. do all the algo-friendly things. It's the best way to support the channel that costs you nothing but a few clicks in a couple of seconds. Until next time, stay sharp, stay leveraged. We'll see you in the dojo next week. Peace.